Old Fashioned Football on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to score $1,000 in bonus cash.
Hey, what's up? This is Sam Acho, and you're listening to Old Fashioned Football.
Old Fashioned Football.
Make this deal right now, you pancake eating mother.
All right, deal.
Old Fashioned Football.
Welcome to Old Fashioned Football. If you're wondering who you're listening to, this is JMark. You can find me in the X at JMark Football. And if you're wondering who us is, that's at Old Fashioned FB. Before I keep going to talk about the FFPC Playoff Challenge and some whiskey, I've got to introduce my co-host on the pod and in life. You can find her on the X at the Mark Mir. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Not too bad. NASCAR Gambling Podcast checking in. Make sure you check them out. I think it's 31 days until the NASCAR season starts again, but they're kicking pods out. They say playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. Yeah, our first round of playoffs is done. Were there any big surprises to you? I know we both picked
everything. No,
everything.
Just kidding.
We both picked a couple games wrong. But
yeah.
We weren't super far off base.
No, we were not. I'm trying to think. I didn't have the Texans advancing. I don't believe I did.
No, we both picked the Chargers, I believe.
Yeah, and I did. I can't remember.
We had the Bucks going over the Commanders.
Yes.
Baker, my dog. It just didn't get it done for us, but
we both had the Bucks.
Yeah.
Did you have the Eagles or the Rams? I felt like we differed there.
The Eagles did not play the Rams. Rams and Vikings played. Yeah, you had the Vikings.
I had. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yes. Been one of those weeks, right? It's just.
No,
been
it
one
really
of those
has.
Weeks.
It really has. I've had like 5 weeks in one here.
5 weeks in one. Yeah. No, I picked the Rams. You picked the Vikings.
Yes, I was like, I didn't have the Eagles. Advancing.
No. I was on
looking at my current bracket.
Yeah.
Not making much sense of it.
Fair enough. I was on This Week in Pro Football last night with Pat Callahan, and he asked if I was surprised by the Vikings and Darnold losing. And I said, you got to remember, this is a guy that, 3-4 years ago, after throwing his third interception, I think it was, told his teammates he was seeing ghosts out there. So, no, I was not surprised, as it turns out. Jamie saying, what's up, dude and dudette? How's it going, Jamie? Thanks for tuning in. 30.25 days.
Oh, very technical. Getting very technical.
And Cody can't wait for the Bills to lose this Sunday. I can't wait for them to win. Sorry.
I hope our brackets are not the same.
Hashtag sorry, Cody. We can talk about that a little bit.
I feel like no, we're not, because I think you have somebody else going to the Super Bowl than me.
I think you're right there too.
Yeah.
If you kept your bracket how it was for the Super Bowl.
I did. I'm very determined.
Very determined.
Even though I have nothing to do with it. I'm determined.
My family obviously wants the Bills to win, Cody. Sorry, you are outnumbered. Jamie saying, R.I.P. Bob. He announced some of my favorite baseball games featuring Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn for the Cleveland Indians back in the 1990s. A name that got taken away, even though they were named because they were the first baseball team to have Indians on the team, but apparently that was offensive. We won't go down that rabbit hole.
Stay out of it.
We're going to give an update on our FFPC lineups that we did last week. I configured the points. You do not know them yet.
I don't know them yet. I don't know how we did. This is how rough of a week I've been having. I came in here, or in your office,
yes,
earlier today, and you were working on points. You were totaling them up, And you told me 2 of your players scored 0. And I'm like, what? Well, yeah, of course. Makes a lot of sense.
Because of the bye week.
Yeah.
I know. That was
But
fun.
I'm like freaked out. I was like, who?
I knew that would get you. So that was fun.
How dare you?
There's a FFPC Playoff Challenge 2. And we're going to be giving out lineups for that. So if you didn't get in the first one, or maybe your first one was really bad, you can do another one. So that's not a big deal. And we're also talking whiskey, which brings me up to whiskey. Miranda, what are we drinking today?
We are drinking Four Roses single barrel. I think, well, I know we've done Four Roses on the show before. I don't remember if we've done the single barrel, but it was like episode 4 or episode
Very early.
It's been forever ago.
Yes.
But this used to be my go-to in an old fashioned.
Yeah. This was your top choice. You always wanted this in an old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see how it holds up to the lore that it used to for you.
We'll
Now,
see how it holds up in an old fashioned that you made.
I made the exact recipe that's on their website, which is
Oh.
very similar to
I
what
was
we
gonna
always
say,
do.
Okay.
I don't really count dashes of bitters. I know a lot of recipes may say a few, but they specify it to 3 Angostura, 2
And that's what you
orange.
did?
And that's not what I did. I did
Okay.
it reverse.
Like,
Um,
oh, so we only have 5 dashes of bitters?
yes. Yeah. My dashes aren't like deep, deep though. It's
Well,
that's the noise it makes. Just so you know, I'm not a
What was it?
tinker. I'm a yes.
Okay.
So
But you painted a good picture for me though.
okay, good, perfect.
I feel like there's adequate bitters in here.
Absolutely. Don't forget to get the SGPN app. It's got easy instant access to free picks, to all the pods, everything, and it's free. Just find it in the App Store, search SGPN. And also shout out to our unofficial sponsor, Liquid Death. Haven't given them a shout out for a while, but it's important to hydrate. Whether you drink whiskey or beer or any kind of alcohol, it's important to hydrate.
I just don't find sparkling water hydrating.
Well, you're just sparkly enough. I'm not. So I have to
I
have it in my
need
water.
some non-carbonation. They do make non-carbonated.
They do. I'm just terrible at drinking water. And I really like this. I like the sparkling better than other sparkling waters this is flavorless, basically. It's just plain water that's sparkling. I like it better, and it's more refreshing to me than others. I'm bad at drinking water. This encourages me to drink water. And per the Google, which, is a very trusted source on everything, sparkling water just as hydrating as regular water.
It feels like it's not. It feels like it's like just
drier.
something.
That water is dry. Let's talk about our FFPC lineups from last week.
Mhm.
Miranda, remind everybody who you had on your team.
All right. I picked Josh Allen, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Mike Evans, Nico Collins. I had Travis Kelce in the tight end spot. And then my 4 flex, which it doesn't really matter. Flex, move them around, whatever.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, and J.K. Dobbins. And then kicker, I went with Chris Boswell and then Broncos defense.
Yeah. So I also had Josh Allen. I had Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Mike Evans, Puka Nacua, Travis Kelce, Jahmyr Gibbs, Ladd McConkey, Nico Collins, Zach Ertz, Will Reichert, the Vikings kicker, and Steelers defense.
We had way too many similarities.
Not enough, obviously, for you to keep up with me because the official tally is in. You are currently sitting at 151.4 points with 7 players remaining. I'm sitting at 172 with 8 players remaining.
Okay.
Okay. My biggest scorer, this is what changed it. You picked Kyron over Puka. Kyron scored more than Puka. But I picked Ladd McConkey over J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins finished with like 6 points.
Yeah, it was a bad one.
had 30-something. So that's where the big difference was.
That's where all the points come in.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
That's the difference.
That's the main difference as of right now.
Mhm.
Now I have some more players advancing, but we have some different players in there. So who knows how it will end up, Kyron may end up scoring 3 touchdowns to Puka's 0, and you'll jump right back in the lead. We don't know. Exactly, she says. But yeah, that was, I I think it was fun first week. I thought the playoffs were good. I was surprised the Texans won. I'll be honest. Not that I think they're a bad team. I just thought that all the momentum was on the Chargers side. So shout out to the chat again real quick. Jamie saying Eagles fans are going to be bitter when the Rams beat them. Whew, that's a hot take. Nick Fortune saying hello from your 2024 Savage and Cook Fantasy Football winner. And I like your avatar you have picked there of, I believe that's Jake Bates. I can't see it quite well enough, but it looks like Jake Bates. Jamie drinks water from the sink. I'm a big proponent of that. I grew up on well water. I know we have our little filtered water thing now, but
it comes from our sink. We just run it through a filter. It still comes out of the faucet.
You don't get no germs that way, and germs are good. Nick we still need to get Nick his Savage and Cook bottle. We will get that. Nick is a person who we see now and then. Probably should be more than we do, but we see now and then, so we're going to give it to him rather than
hand delivered.
Yeah. Speaking of whiskey, just some exciting news that I just saw this morning. Last year, a year and a half ago now, we had Victoria Edie Butler on our show.
Yes, I know the news you're going to share now.
Yeah, from Uncle Nearest. Just found out she's going to be in the West Des Moines Wall to Wall. And so we're going to go and meet her, and that's going to be a great time. It's going to be nice to meet her in person.
Yeah, it will be. It's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to give out our FFPC Playoff Challenge 2 lineups in a minute, but before we do, I got to let you know, playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. You bet we are. Getting on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Are you ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook app and make your pick. With Zay Flowers out, I'm all over Rashad Bateman anytime touchdown, and you can get that at plus 155 on DraftKings. If new DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SGP. That's code SGP for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
All right.
You know, it'd be great.
What's that?
If our graphics guy had something for that.
We are
specifically not supposed to use it.
Yes. DraftKings, if you've never had DraftKings as a sponsor, they're very specific how they want things read. And yes, it was stated not
they
to
want
have a
us
graphic.
to sit here in awkward silence during that disclaimer.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
The alternative is we read it ourselves, and I would rather just listen to it, to be honest. I can talk fast, but that is a bit of a mouthful. So I'm absolutely happy with it. Nick had to change his profile pic because Kramer bullied him into it. And gambling is not a problem if you're winning all the time. Jamie tried to call the gambling hotlines once. They were no help at all. Wouldn't even help with my parlay. Love it. I love it. So before we give out our lineup, in case you missed last week, you don't know what the hell the FFPC Playoff Challenge even is, why don't we go over it? Do you want to give some info on kind of what it is? And
yeah. So the FFPC it's basically a fantasy football lineup that you enter for the playoffs, because fantasy football doesn't have to end at the end of the regular season. And the main, catches are with this is once your player loses a game and is out of the playoffs, they no longer accrue points. Obviously, they're not playing. So you want players that are going to be around for a while. You can only pick one player from each team. So as soon as you select a player from the Lions, you can't select another Lions player. So you've got to there's strategy here on who you're picking. One player from each team. Then it's also a PPR league. It's a tight end premium as well. So tight ends get 1.5 points per catch. And then we're going to be talking about the second week of playoffs challenge. So you get 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex instead of, or last week we had 4 flex, a kicker, and a defense.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
Sorry, not to cut you off. I personally feel like entering this second week is harder because in the first week you pick 2 teams to fade, which I guess if you fade the wrong 2 teams, that's not good, obviously. But this time you pick a player from every team, and it's hard not to just go all chalk. But if you go all chalk players, all these top players, like, oh, that's the obvious choice. That's the obvious choice. There's nothing that separates your team from any others. And I feel like every year in the playoffs, especially once we get to now in the semifinals, there's one random player that pops off. And I feel like it's really about maybe fine-tuning your lineup to have those chalk guys that are going to perform and maybe having 1 or 2 of those guys that's going to pop off. What do you think? Did you just go all chalk?
I went chalk and not chalk.
Chalk and not chalk.
I don't know.
I'm curious to see.
I have a not chalk on there.
You do?
Yeah.
Just because of how, like, basically what I just described, I'm really curious to see how similar our lineups are. It's hard for me to differentiate and make arguments for the players, like for not picking the players I picked.
If you don't go chalk, like if you're going to miss those points that those players are going to get. So it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
You'll see if I let you see my notes. I wrote a name down, I crossed it off, wrote a different name down, crossed it off, wrote the same name back. And I think I might change before I give my lineup again.
Okay.
I'm going back and forth. It's like
I just have one name that I crossed off and wrote a new name in.
No,
I stuck with the new name.
I didn't. So we'll see.
Fair enough. Why don't we just kick it off with your quarterback? Did you stick with the same?
Yeah, I stuck with Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Go Bills.
Go Bills. That's right. Super Bowl bound Bills. I
don't have them going that far.
Wow. Insulting. I also have Josh Allen as my quarterback. I think he's winning the Super Bowl MVP. #sorry, Cody. So yeah, I have Josh Allen. I'm a big Josh Allen lover these days. So yeah. Running back, the first running back, I guess.
Well, let's just go both of them.
Okay.
I have Gibbs and Saquon.
Okay. I have Gibbs in a flex, but I'll just give him out as a running back because he's still a running back. And I also have Saquon. I don't think I'm worried that David Montgomery is coming back. I think he'll get worked slowly back in.
They benefit each other. Having them both on the
And Gibbs is the more of the pass catcher, so you want those points in a PPR, obviously. And then as far as Saquon Barkley, I mean, I didn't want AJ Brown, who's dealing with a knee injury, and I think he read more pages during the game than he caught passes, I believe. I mean, he was on the sideline reading a book. It was bizarre to see a player in the middle of a game reading a book. Unprofessional, in my opinion. But Devonta Smith, he's solid, but none of them are Saquon Barkley.
No.
I mean, in the points that he can put up.
It's really hard not to take him.
Yeah. So yeah, I just don't see how you don't take those guys unless you take Jalen Hurts as your quarterback. But I don't feel like he's as good of a quarterback as Josh Allen. There, I said it. Now, Cody's saying we're going to be disappointed. We've seen this story way too many times. Keep in mind, this is coming from a Patriots fan who hates the Bills. There may be some
I don't
bias.
have them going to the Super Bowl. I don't. So.
Oh, yeah. We should talk about that after this. Your wide receivers.
Nico and Puka.
I have Puka, and I completely messed my lineup up.
Do you have 2 from the same team?
No. The person I crossed out was Nico and put Mixon in, but I put him in as a wide receiver, and I can't do that.
You can't do that.
So I guess I also have Puka and Nico.
I don't like this. You were not supposed to agree that much.
It's hard to fade those
I can
guys,
already
though.
see you still have Kelsey in as your tight end.
Yeah, I do. You as well?
Yeah. I mean, and some of these players, didn't play last week. I had them in my lineups last week. I kept them in this one.
Gibbs and Trav.
Yeah, Gibbs and Trav.
Yep.
So those 2.
All right,
so I guess we're going to differ on flex.
Maybe. Do you have Derrick Henry?
He's who I crossed off, put somebody else in, crossed off, put Henry back in. I'm crossing him off again. And here's why I went back and forth, though. But I know that you have Derrick Henry, so I can't have him. I refuse to have that similar of a lineup.
Okay.
But the reason I wanted Henry is because his average points, and like he is just a workhorse. Like he's going to get you good points, and I want those. Like it's hard not to pick him. I'm gonna go with Mark Andrews.
Okay.
Tight end premium.
Yeah. I like that.
I look at. I seriously wrote it, crossed it off, wrote it, crossed it off.
And with Zay Flowers missing again, more opportunities for Mark Andrews. I like that.
So I'll take that tight end in the flex.
Yeah, take your tight end in the flex. I did go with Derrick Henry, but you have an interesting point. I think the Ravens lose this game. Last night I mentioned I was on This Week in Pro Football. Pat Callahan and the guest before me, which is Sal Powell. If you know anything about ESPN's coverage on Eagles or anything like that, Sal Powell. They both think that the Bills will be able to bottle Henry up and stop him, basically. So if that happens, Mark Andrews is a great play.
He'll benefit.
That'll flip your team.
And again, like for
pick.
the flex, like I don't have in my bracket, I don't have the Ravens advancing. So my flex was just going to be a team that I don't like, a player from a team I don't have advancing.
Sure.
And if you look at it that way, you want Henry in there.
Yeah.
Which is why I went back and forth
that makes
so
sense.
much. But no, fine. I'm going Mark Andrews.
All right.
Locked.
I like it. Who's your last flex?
I feel like we're the same. Zach Ertz.
Yeah. So you have 3 tight ends.
3 tight ends. I'm going for tight end premium here.
I like it. I also have Zach Ertz.
So if I wouldn't have, we
you know
have
what?
the exact same lineup.
We're making a change on the spot here because I felt good about my Mixon play. I think the Chiefs are going to be able to slow the passing. So I'm putting Mixon in my flex, removing Zach Ertz. And that means no Nico, but I got to get a commander then. I'm going Scary Terry. He got a touchdown last week. I think I don't think the Commanders win, but I do think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. So I'm going to put Terry McLaurin in as my wide receiver. I'll get rid of my tight end premium, unfortunately. But
I cannot believe we came with the same lineup until I swapped Henry out. We had the exact same lineup.
I know. Even with, I thought Zach Ertz would be my kicker. Not obviously the kicker on my team. I thought that would be the difference on our teams, but you had him as well. So that surprised me. Nick Fortune pointing out that you are the pro of tight ends. So
I don't know this past season. I don't know if I can still claim that.
I mean, I did kind of take the reins over after I.
No, you don't get to. You have no claim.
Travis Kelce
you have
would
no
finish 6th.
You have no claim to that title whatsoever because of Kyle Pitts. Because of your obsession with Kyle Pitts and everything you think about Kyle Pitts.
I disowned him mid-season. That's got to count for
you
something.
You do this every year. I'm so tired of it.
I do think now that Kirk Cousins probably won't be their quarter. I mean, next year's his year.
No, do not do that to me. If you do it in secret, not in front of me, not on our podcast. Just go somewhere else.
That's fair. I will do that in secret. We'll keep track of this lineup as well. We'll keep track of the other lineup. We got to see who wins. Seeing how far ahead I am of you in the other one. I wish we had a little friendly wager going on. Kind of wish we had agreed to that ahead of time. But
it's a little late now.
It is.
We can do it off of this week.
It is a little late.
Off of our second lineup.
By the way, Nick can't wait to school you on tight end rankings because you guys made that bet that
that's
you'll
both. That's fine.
I don't think she believes you, Nick. Why don't you put your lineup away there?
I gotta have my bracket out. Are we talking about?
Well, yeah, I was gonna flip back to our brackets from before.
Put my lineup away. Why? It's the winning one.
It was the rustling of the paper over there.
I know. I drive you nuts all the time with sounds and movements and fidgeting. I am.
You're a fidgeter.
I don't sit still. So sorry.
It's all good. So you had the Chargers beating the Texans. Obviously, that didn't happen. So now the Texans will play the Chiefs. Who do you have winning that game?
The Chiefs.
All right. And then you correctly called Ravens and Bills.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have the Bills winning?
Yes.
Okay. And then Chiefs, Bills. Do you still have the Chiefs winning?
Yes.
All right. On the other side, You had the Vikings advancing over the Rams. The Rams advanced and will now play the Eagles.
Right. I have the Eagles.
The Eagles beating the
Advan-
Rams.
yeah.
Okay.
So that's going to change that side.
Yep.
It's going to be the Eagles facing off the Lions because.
Okay. So in your conference final, you got Eagles, Lions. And
Yeah,
who
because
wins
I have
that?
the Lions beating the Commanders.
Sure. Even
And
though
then-
Moneyline Mac thinks, as he put it, I think my skins are going to shock the world. Still refusing to call them the Commanders. Moneyline Mac thinks they're going to shock the world. We'll see.
Well, that would be a shock.
It would be.
I still have the Chiefs and Lions facing off in the Super Bowl, and I'm going for the Lions.
Okay. All right.
But I think the Chiefs will take it. If the Chiefs get there, I think that it's written already, and then they're supposed to.
Destiny has already been written.
Their dynasty. I don't know.
The referee that is the head referee for them in this coming game
Mhm.
is the one that always seems to favor them, of course.
How
but
do
you know
they?
what?
Why can't they make that guy like you can't referee the Chiefs?
Well, at least they're getting it out of the way now. Not him. Well, he could still be.
Why
I
do-
guess,
he
the
probably just
AFC
travels with them.
championship. Maybe they're not traveling; they're staying home.
Okay, well, you know what I mean, though.
Yeah.
He's probably on the road. He's probably in there, like, why can't I think of the word that's coming to my head right now?
In there, like what?
Organization somewhere, but he
Oh,
gets off the
he's on
bus
the
and then he
payroll.
throws a referee shirt on and gets out there. Yeah,
Fair enough.
payroll is what I was thinking
Payroll.
of.
Oh, he's on the payroll. All right. So I picked the Steelers to beat the Ravens just for a fun game. I did say that I thought it would be close. It wasn't very close. I still have the Bills beating the Ravens. I have the Chiefs beating the Texans. So I think it's going to be closer than everybody's saying. So then we got Bills versus Chiefs. I'm taking the Bills to advance to the Super Bowl. Sorry, Cody. I know you don't like it. I know you think I'm going to be disappointed. I guess we'll see. On the other side, the Lions face off against who are they playing now? Washington.
Commanders.
We just talked about
yeah.
it. Yes. I like the over in that game. It's hard for me to pick a side, but I do think the Lions win it. And then the Eagles play the Rams. It would be awesome to see Stafford and the Rams get a win. I don't think it happens. So Eagles, Lions in the NFC Championship. And I got the Eagles advancing to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
Bills over Eagles in the Super Bowl. You can get that at DraftKings right now at plus 1,600 if you pick the exact result, Bills to beat the Eagles.
Look at you coming with the plus this, plus that.
Absolutely.
I didn't do that.
That's okay. I was just scrolling through DraftKings and happened to see that. So, your $5 bet could win you $85. I mean, why not? Why not sprinkle just a little bit on there? Just a little sprinkle.
Okay, Justin.
So you have Lions Chiefs.
Lions Chiefs.
I have Bills Eagles. We'll see how that pans out.
Okay.
And I guess before we talk about whiskey, you want to tell everybody a little bit about Underdog Fantasy?
Absolutely. We are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. We're talking NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. So go sign up with promo code OFFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's underdogfantasy.com, promo code OFFSGPN.
All right, we are back. We'll go ahead and let you know to follow our socials because we'll probably put out an Underdog lineup again. We did last week. We'll probably have another one. So check our YouTube. It'll be on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the one that I put out, but I was in front of our wood boiler saying I had some fire picks.
Yes, I think I saw that.
So we'll have some fun.
I never know
with it
what
again.
you're going to do.
I know. Sprinkles are for winners, Nick says. I agree, Nick. I wanted to touch on something real quick on NFL news. We know a lot of teams are in this process of like interviewing head coaches, including the Bears, who are interviewing literally anybody that has experience.
Yeah.
I saw, so they interviewed Arthur Smith. And if you are listening to this and you're unfamiliar with the Rooney Rule, it means you have to interview somebody that is a minority or of color or something like that. Arthur Smith is not, but I saw somebody posted on social media that the Bears did that to satisfy the Looney Rule because he's fucking nuts. But one of those teams has made a decision. The Patriots, Cody's Patriots, have hired new head coach Mike Vrabel.
Cody's Patriots.
Cody's Patriots.
They're
Yeah.
his.
I have a
New
feeling.
owner.
I have a feeling he's stoked with this hire. Vrabel was kind of an obvious choice. He's got ties to New England. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion with them. He's in their Hall of Fame. Just got induced into the Hall of Fame, the Patriots Hall of Fame. That is in 2023. I like this hire though. With Tennessee, I feel like he did a lot with a little. They were always competitive.
Yeah.
Now they did have Derrick Henry, obviously. Patriots don't have Derrick Henry, but he got a lot out of his players. He had a good defense, obviously. He's a defensive-minded coach. And they had Tannehill playing well. I think Drake May is a much better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill, just my opinion. I know it's small sample size, but I don't know. I think this is going to be a good one for the Patriots. I'm interested to see how it pans out. Well, maybe not, hopefully. It depends if Cody keeps talking smack about the Bills. Just let him have this one, Cody. Just this one. You guys had plenty. You had plenty.
You had your time.
You had your time.
Sit back down.
That's right. Should we talk some whiskey?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm gonna grab the bottle from behind us real quick, but remind everybody what we're drinking.
We are drinking Four Roses Single Barrel Bourbon.
So we got together and we put together a decent background on this. I think we should kind of flip back and forth on talking about it. So I'll let you start and we'll just kind of go in a timeline of events.
Okay, I know you're going to pour, but I'm going to talk about the bottle. So you
Okay,
can't pour.
Talk about the bottle.
So I guess before we talk specifically about Four Roses Single Barrel, we all know I'm obsessed with the bottle.
Yes.
I think this is probably why we first tried this. Like in our old fashioned, we were agreeing on a
we were just looking for a whiskey at that time, I think.
Probably.
We didn't have many.
Four Roses etched on the bottle. Here, you hold it up there.
All right. Hopefully you can see
and
it
it's
there.
pretty. It's like not etched on the bottle. It's in the glass.
Imprinted or I guess outprinted.
Outprinted?
Out.
It's not an innie, it's an outie.
Exactly. Yeah. See, you get it.
Yes. But let's get into some of the background and history of Four Roses. We have a full history for everybody. So Paul Jones Jr. moved his successful business, which nobody really says what it was for or what it was for sure, but presumably it was in the spirits industry. And he moved it to Kentucky on Whiskey Row in 1884, and he trademarked the name Four Roses 4 years later in 1892, while claiming he had been producing and selling the whiskey since the 1860s. But there's really no proof of that. It's just,
do you think, obviously 1880s, way different time. You would be like, hey, you should try this whiskey. I've been selling this shit since 1860s. People love it. You should try it. Do you think that's kind of how
I don't know.
Came about? Like, it's
I don't
interesting.
know. There's just, but he claims 1860s. No documented proof.
No.
Jumping ahead in 1922, the Paul Jones Company purchased the Frankfurt Distilling Company. And as part of this purchase came the rights to sell Four Roses as a medicinal whiskey during Prohibition, which is the main reason that Four Roses was one of the few bourbon brands to survive Prohibition. And interestingly enough, despite having the permit to sell their whiskey as a medicinal whiskey, Frankfurt Distilling Company wasn't distilling whiskey at the time.
Which is bizarre.
I know.
That's bizarre.
We're one of the only people who can.
Right.
We're not going to.
Yeah. And it reminds me, the old bottle you have says something about medicinal whiskey, which is just so cool.
I should have brought it in here.
Yeah. I can't remember
really
how
neat.
it's worded, but it's just so cool to see, like, in that time they were like, no, this is good for your health. Try it. I'll take over for a little bit if you don't mind in our timeline here. In 1943, the company Seagram, which you probably know from Seagram's and, your Seagram 7 and all that, they purchased Frankfurt Distilling Company, which is Paul Jones' company at the time, for one specific reason: to acquire Four Roses. That was the main brand in that company that was performing. And they did a weird thing. Four Roses was one of the top selling bourbons in the U.S. in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, but they said, let's stop selling it in the United States. Instead, let's move it overseas to this rapidly growing European and Asian market that was wanting whiskey at that time.
Mhm.
And it quickly became, and it still is, one of the top selling bourbons in Europe and Japan, which why not just do both? Maybe there was some supply and demand troubles back then. I don't know. Anyways, in 1966, Jim Rutledge joined Seagram in the Louisville plant's research and development department, and Rutledge would later go on to become the master distiller there, and he's still considered one of the most legendary master distillers in the opinion of most in the world of whiskey. In 1975, he transferred to corporate headquarters in New York up until 92, but he was asked to return home to Kentucky to help with the Four Roses brand to kind of grow it back to what it was. And in 95, he replaced Ova Haney, who was the current master distiller. And for the next several years, he worked and worked and worked to get Four Roses back to the States. He's like, this is really good stuff. People love it. Why are we not selling it here?
Yes. So I'm going to fast forward a bit to like 2002. What were you doing in 2002?
Let's see. I believe I was a sophomore in high school at that time. So hard to say what I was doing.
I was
School stuff
in
and getting my first
middle
jobs.
school. So just
That
out
makes me
of
sound
fresh
really
out of
creepy.
elementary.
That makes me sound really creepy. You need to stop that right now.
So 2002. I apologize if I butcher this, but the Kyron brewery company purchased the Four Roses Bourbon brand and the production facilities, and they renamed the company to Four Roses Distillery LLC. So it wasn't long after that Four Roses Bourbon was again being sold in the United States, and quite frankly, earning a really good reputation in the bourbon world.
Yeah.
And then Jim Rutledge remained the master distiller up until August 2015. What were you doing in 2015?
2015. That was 3 years after we were married.
Yes.
Yeah. And 1 year of owning a house.
Was it?
I don't remember
Yeah.
what I
Yes.
was doing at
Okay.
that time, though.
Quiz is over. You passed. You're fine. So yeah, he remained the master distiller up until August 2015.
Would have been funny if I was like, "Oh, I just graduated college," and you're like, "And I was just graduating high school." Anyways,
when he retired in August of 2015. And then the new master distiller was Brent Elliott, who he had worked with Jim distilling Four Roses for about 10 years at that time. So he remains the master distiller up to today. Like he's still currently their master distiller.
his name is even on the bottle.
See, there
It's
you
not a
go.
lie.
And then in 2020, Brent Elliott was named the master distiller of the year at the Whiskey Magazine's Icons of Whiskey America Award ceremony. That's a mouthful.
That's what she said. What's interesting to me with Four Roses,
Mhm.
a lot of these bigger brands, they have a lot of different options for whiskey, and they keep coming out with new ones, right? I mean, if you
Mhm.
think of like Jack Daniels, think of all the different Jack Daniels whiskeys there are. There's a ton of them. Four Roses is stuck to mainly their same core four. They have Four Roses Bourbon, they have Small Batch, they have Small Batch Select, which is like a cask proof, and then they have Four Roses Single Barrel. That's it. They do have some limited series now and then,
Mhm.
but they mainly focus on those four. And I find that interesting because so many of those big brands are like, let's put out as many different things as we can. And Four Roses is like, you know what? We know what's good. Let's stick to what's good. For the single barrel, you can see what warehouses it is in. Ours is warehouse number SN, which is not a
I knew
number.
it.
Four Roses. That's not a number. SN is not a number, but
Are you sure it's an N?
I'm positive that says SN.
Okay, it says SN.
And the barrel number
couldn't see
is
where you were
a
reading.
36 double D. Oh no, 36-3D. So that's where ours came from. And this is proofed right at 100 proof. It's aged 7 to 9 years, depending on the bottle.
And it's good.
Did you try it already?
I haven't. Oh, you poured it. I didn't even see you pour it. Look at you.
I am very sneaky.
I will tell you though that the old fashioned that you made, which is from the recipe from their site, it tastes just like I imagine a Four Roses old fashioned should taste.
Yeah. It's
good.
It's a
very
good solid old fashioned.
Yeah, it's
Well
very
balanced.
good. Well balanced.
Yeah.
The only thing about my old fashioned that's freaking me out is the cherry stem. You put a cherry in my drink that has the longest stem I've ever seen, and it's like a stick poking me in the face every time I take a drink.
You should be used to that.
Oh my god. But otherwise it's extremely good in the old fashioned. I have not tried it alone.
Just
neat
real
yet.
quick while you're start with the nose. We'll build a
Okay.
taste profile here. I think we should taste it, but checking in with the chat. Jamie saying back in my day during Prohibition, we had to buy bootleg alcohol that made us go blind. Pretty sure you're not that old, Jamie, but and then Cody checking back in. He had to pause for a minute. He is stoked for Vrabel. He wanted him last year. Pats will win 7th ring before Bills get one. Okay.
Oh my gosh. That's a statement.
We just need to have Adam and Cody on the podcast to just argue this back and forth. The
Mhm.
Bills.
I'd like to see it.
Bills fan versus the Patriots fan. What do you get on the nose with
Caramel,
this?
oak.
Caramel?
It's like what you would expect to smell from a bourbon, but it's
I feel like I get honey. Do you get a little bit of honey?
I can see where you pick up on honey. It's like a very
It's
a honey caramel. Honey
Yeah.
and caramel meshed together. It's very pleasant on the nose.
It is, yeah.
You can tell like it is a bourbon, but it's not like we've done a lot of whiskey tastings recently where we're
have.
quizzing each other. We should probably bring these to people.
I think so. I think
but like
it'd be fun, yeah.
I put like what was it like 10 to 12
Something
bourbons
like
and
that,
ryes.
yeah.
You pick them, you line them up in front of me, and you give me a taste, and I have to tell you which one it is. I have to tell you if it's a bourbon or a rye, and I have to tell you which one it is.
And walk through kind of the thought process
yeah,
of what you're tasting, what you're smelling. Yeah.
But it's, in my opinion, very easy to know if you're smelling a bourbon or a rye.
Yeah.
This is like a
Usually.
classic bourbon
We
smell.
did stump you on a couple, but usually it's easy.
Usually.
We're
I
gonna
did
start-
better than you did.
We don't know that for sure. We did not officially keep track
I
of
do know
mine.
that for sure.
No,
I
we
do.
don't.
But yeah, this is good. It's good.
Yeah.
Now let's try it.
All right. Well, we can't both try at the same time because somebody's got to be talking. I just keep getting that honey smell on it. Now that you're tasting, I guess talk about the mouthfeel first before you talk about the flavors because I'm going to try it.
The mouthfeel, I guess it has a good mouthfeel. It's not,
It's a little thinner.
I was going to say, it's not really thick.
No, it's a little thinner.
Mhm.
Not too thin, but it is a little thinner.
A little bit. It tastes like it smells.
It tastes. You get the kind of the
Yeah.
sweetness out of it. I got a really oakiness
Mm-hmm.
in the finish. Yeah,
An oaky afterbirth,
an oaky afterbirth on the finish.
in the words of Michael Scott.
We're super professionals, you can tell, because we know the oaky afterbirth. Yeah, no, I get the oak after. Now I can't. I keep saying afterbirth.
It's afterwards.
the
Like
finish.
the finish is very oak
Yeah.
forward finish.
Yes. And it I feel like it tastes like a aged bourbon. I mean, you can tell this is not a 2-year bourbon.
And that's why I like this one so
Yeah.
much. And in an old fashioned,
There are there are good 2 years out there. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
bash 2 years, but sometimes you taste a 2-year-old bourbon and you're like, you can tell that's young.
and most places don't make, like, if you go to a restaurant or you go out to a bar and they have Four Roses, you're not getting the single barrel in your old
Right.
fashioned. I really like the single barrel in an old fashioned. We have tried this. We've compared it to like just their normal Four Roses.
Yeah.
And there's a
It's better.
significant difference.
Yeah.
It's better. And I think it is because of that aging.
Tastes older. Yeah.
It's also could be because it's single barrel.
Yeah, and 100 proof.
Mhm.
I think their normal is, can't remember if that's a 80 or 86er. I can't remember off the top of my head. We don't currently
like
have a
it's 86.
bottle 86.
Could be wrong.
It's
probably
happened
wrong.
before.
I have Google. Why don't we just
Do
Google?
you? You have Google
I
on
have
that?
Google. We're sitting in front of Google and we're debating
I think
what we don't know.
I think long story short, if you maybe you've not tried a lot of bourbons, you're new to the bourbon scene, but you want to get into more whiskey, you want to try some new ones. I think Four Roses, especially the single barrel, is kind of one you should have in your lineup, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your lineup.
Yeah.
80 proof. It's 80.
Okay, I wondered. Yeah.
Yeah. Aged a minimum of 5 years though.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie pointing out, not an 86 or a 69er. Yeah, no, I think this is a solid one to make sure you have at your bar, especially if you're getting into whiskey, or if you just want, hey, I got some buddies that drink whiskey. I want something I can stock in there that they'll probably like, that they'll enjoy drinking.
Yeah.
I hate going to a place and, you go to a friend's place and it's not their fault, but they're like, I got some whiskey. You want any? And it's like, yeah, sure. What you got? I got this Jim Beam. It's like, I mean, Jim Beam's solid. I know what I'm getting, but okay. Or Jack, I got JD Apple. It's like, oh, okay. I got Crown Royal. Actually, I'm just going to stick with water. Thanks. Now that I just lost any chance of having Crown Royal or JD.
I do not care
sponsors.
for flavored whiskeys.
No.
I like if a whiskey is finished. Like we have whiskey finished in Naranja barrels. That's really good. Or finished in wine casks, finished in port casks.
The orange sherry from Keeper's Heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's good.
Yeah.
If you add flavoring.
You wanted that Crown Royal
Blackberry.
I
wanted to
so
try
bad.
it. And when we tried it, I was like, why did we try this? But I know some people really love all the Crown Royals.
Is this fruit juice? What is this?
My grandma loves the salted caramel.
Yeah.
I believe. Maybe that's the one. Or maybe my mom likes that one. My grandma likes salted caramel black velvet.
Yeah. Black velvet is, I haven't had black velvet in a long time. And I know my dad has also not had it, but my dad drank a lot of black velvet back in the day. And I bet he couldn't to this day. I don't know for sure, but that's some, let's just say lower end. I mean, it's cheap for a reason.
Yeah. It's not. You're not going to do a flavor profile and tell me about the mouthfeel of your black velvet.
Maybe we should. Maybe people would be interested.
Maybe we should.
I mean,
maybe we should do we normally do mid-shelf. We occasionally do higher.
Yeah, higher end. Do a bottom shelf review. Yeah.
The whiskeys on the bottom. Yeah. The bottom row whiskeys.
Just grab a couple. They equal one bottle of kind of what we normally get. We get a couple of them and compare what the best low end whiskey is. That would be interesting.
It would be.
Yeah. I think
for the price point of like $20.
Yeah.
What's the best whiskey at $20?
And we'll line a couple up. We got to have Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, which will win, but we'll do it blind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Blind.
So, the mouthfeel of black velvet is fuzzy.
Fuzzy. Okay.
Hence the name, Velvet. I mean, that makes sense. So Jamie used to sneak his uncle's black velvet when he was 12.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. Remind me when Aiden is 12 to make sure he has no access to the whiskey.
I think Aiden is very much like myself, where he's a rule follower.
He is a rule follower. Yes.
I didn't get rebellious until high school, but I was silently rebellious.
That's why when he's in high school, we'll have to hide it. Actually, are you kidding me? With his mother's permission, it'll be like, can I have a little taste of whiskey with him when he's in high school? Are you
saying that? No, I don't know. Maisie,
awesome.
I don't think.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
Once he's 18.
Maybe. We'd see. We'll see. We'll see.
I bet once he's 18.
Let's just not talk about this. I can't picture our little Aiden growing up.
I know. That's what we got for today. The next couple weeks here, you might get a little hit and miss from when we're going to have shows and everything, because football's about done.
It is about done. We're working on upcoming guests, bringing on more distillery interviews. We will get a couple in the works here, and
yeah.
I think it was like the March timeframe for one. I'm really excited about.
Yes.
And we're in the works with another. So we'll be bringing those.
And
those
in
are
February,
always fun.
We'll be in Balcones. So you're going to see some social media content on that.
We'll be at Balcones. Balcones isn't we won't be in Balcones. Like, what are you going to be?
In their distillery.
We'll be at the distillery.
I'm going to be in it. You can stand outside if you want and be at it. I will be in the distillery.
We're going to be in Balcones. It just sounded weird. We're going to be in Balcones. We're going to be just bathing in their whiskey. Like, what do you mean? We're going to be.
No, maybe that lineage. Yeah, I would.
I'm actually very excited. I really am a big fan of Balcones.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll stream some of the the distillery tour and stuff like that. Get you guys some insight on what it's like to go to Waco. Waco, Texas, and visit Balcones. So we'll visit it
Yeah.
for you so you can get some insight. But
Are you or are you not excited about the silos?
this feels like a trick question.
I know.
It's a trap.
Do you want to see? You want to go there?
Yeah.
You're not looking forward to me going there.
Just remember, we have to fly back. So it's got to be able to fit.
Just
in your
remember, you can always buy a second suitcase and check it.
bag. Well, that's got to weigh into the cost of what you're buying. Like, is it
I
worth
know.
that plus
No,
the
I
check
know.
bag?
We've gone places and shipped things back.
We have. Yeah. Yeah.
We've traveled light and decided to
No,
ship things
it'll
back.
be interesting. I would say my decorative
Mm-hmm.
style is not as bougie as Magnolia Market because I
Bougie?
don't have a decorative style.
You don't have your decorative style is what I do.
You see this? This is my decorative style right here. Hang some jerseys
on a
up,
sign,
have some whiskey,
some whiskey.
old-fashioned football, and we good. I mean, no,
Okay.
it'll be fun.
Mhm.
It'll be fun. So
It will be.
we should digress, I guess. No, but-
I was surprised that the silos are in the middle of like downtown.
yeah.
I was picturing like you go out of the I don't know why. I just picture you go out of town and you arrive at the silos. Like it's a
You're
destination.
thinking like silos like on a farm.
Not necessarily. Like maybe it was a farm turned into this silo, like little like community of Magnolia.
Of Magnolia.
Not in the middle. I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I never Googled and looked at where it was located and around it. And I went on the Google Street View and walked all the way around.
We don't even have to go. You've been there. I get it. We've already been there. I mean,
Well, if in that sense, we've already been to Balcones too, because I dropped the.
oh, but I didn't. And you can taste stuff at Balcones. You can't taste stuff at Magnolia.
No, it'll be
so.
fun. It'll be a good time.
Miranda, I go get Four Roses. Even if you
Yes.
just get the regular bourbon, it's a solid choice to have at your bar. But this single barrel to me is the best in their lineup.
Mhm.
Agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
So-
solid.
So yeah, if you are wanting to splurge a little bit more, it's not much more, but a little bit more than their regular, get the single barrel. It's worth it. And if you have a Costco membership, get it at Costco. That's where we got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do just want to say good luck to everybody in their FFPC lineups, in your brackets. If you have any
Yeah.
side or home bets going on for your brackets, we're going to figure something out tonight before
All right.
this weekend. We
Uh,
have to have some sort of bet.
if you want my bets of the week, we're not giving them out on Old Fashioned Football this week because I don't have them in front of me. But check out my work on the IDP Plus website. They will be out there that dropping tomorrow. 4 props that I feel the most confident on. I already gave you one. Rashad Bateman anytime touchdown. That's a freebie. Come check out the article for the others. I got a national championship article coming out too,
Yeah.
so check that out. And I think for So You Like Sports, we're looking at February when I'm going to write a little Aussie Rules football futures. So check that out, which is a really interesting, I guess, take on football or interesting sport. So if you don't know what Aussie Rules football is, check it out. It will not disappoint. Do you have anything else you'd like to add?
We're good.
All right. My whiskey is just about gone. Going once, going twice.
Sold.